Hola, hola, hola. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you are a returning gumdrop, otherwise, if this is your first time seeing me, welcome to my channel. I give great thanks. The name is Charlie T, and you know, you're going to be in for some wild stories. By the way, I am hungry, so I will be eating, snacking. I will be snacking in this video, so don't mind me. I got some fried crab flavor Lay's. And I also have some orange mango banana juice. So let me tell you what this is giving. It smells good. Now I can't say this actually tastes like fried crab, but whatever it tastes like, it is good. Pop this baby open. So, you guys that are familiar with my channel know how much I have been having such the worst luck with these men, or the lack thereof. And, you know, it's not to say that there's no more great men out there. I'm not seeing that whatsoever. But I will say there are a bunch of men that are just wanting to waste your time, because even the great ones, like, or good ones, what have you, like, I've, you know, encountered some good or great guys, but just like wasn't meant for me, because either we weren't looking in life for the same things, or just in general we're not compatible. But outside of that, like, we make great friends. I'm not talking about that. I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to just the ones that have been wasting my time. Two different situations. Three altogether, but one I'm gonna focus on last. So two different situations where, one, I'm still in communication with this individual. Like, you know, we chat here and there. But the issue for me is that in the beginning, everything's very consistent, and like, I'm sought after, and by sought after I just mean, like, you know, that individual has been texting me first, been calling, like they prefer to FaceTime and all of that. But then over the course of time, I'm noticing like the communication is just like lacking unless I communicate with them first, like I reach out to them. And so it finally took like me saying something, like mentioning like, am I coming on too strong? Like, is everything okay? Like, are you no longer interested? Because just let me know, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm big, I'm grown, okay? I can handle it, I can take it. Just be honest with me and respectful about it, right? Well, after I brought this up to him, he was just stating like, you know, it's not that like he's no longer interested or anything like that. It's just like, you know, he's just busy with his travels and like, you know, just a lot of plans over the course of this summer, which is fair. You know, it's very much so understandable. But like, you know, in my mind, I'm like, that's not something like you considered ahead of time, like beforehand, like, you know, like you knew like what you were going to be having in the next following months, things that you were going to be planning to do outside of work. So like, now all of a sudden it's like, oh, I have to consider like why you're not communicating with me like that. And if we do communicate, it's because I'm reaching out. Like, okay, all right, granted, I'm still like figuring out things with other people, trying to at least, and that's gone nowhere. So, situation two, that also was like, it was fine until it wasn't. And I say that because he was another one that the communication was very much so like seeking on his end. He would reach out to me a lot. He would rather talk on the phone, which was great. And then like I was very transparent with him. Like, you know, I would, you know, be interested in going on a date, like, you know, meeting up, and he was open to that. And we did also communicate to each other, like, we were both like, you know, dating other people at the same time. Like, you know, we're not just dating one another, like, or interested in dating one another. So we were both like on that. But last minute, like literally the day before, he decides to tell me, because my job is trying this new thing with like breaks in between the shifts, like do a half shift in the beginning and then hours later do a shift in the evening, he may not be able to make the date. Okay, all right, I'm gonna act like I believe you, whatever. So then that next following day, he ends up telling me, yeah, I can't, I'm not gonna be able to make the date, da-da-da-da. Okay, cool. That following week, that same weekend, like, I already knew, like, he was gonna be out of town because he communicated that to me. So we were supposed to go on a date the day before he went out of town. Never happened far as the date, like I said. And I'm waiting on a rescheduling, right? Crickets. So I'm like, okay, one thing about me, I'm not gonna be out here looking stupid, like reaching out to you to try to reschedule plans that you had to cancel on. You chose to be like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to make it regardless of what excuse it is. It's on your end, so I'm expecting you to be rescheduling, right? Okay, mention a week later how, okay, the communication has been like lacking lately. Like, we haven't even spoken on the phone since like he came back from out of town. And I was just like, what's going on? And then he mentions like, oh yeah, so about that, I've been meaning to tell you, I think I'm going to focus on this other individual that I'm dating. I'm really liking where it's going. I think I want to take things to the next level. But I figured I'd tell you out of respect for you, and I would still want us to be friends. Do I got stupid written on my forehead or what? Like, I'm telling you out of respect for you, no, stop it. Because truth be told, you're telling me because I'm asking you what's been going on with your lack of communication and like, why are you moving differently? Pretty much. Like, that's why you told me. That's why. Because if it wasn't for that, you still would have been... Mind you, prior to me asking him this question, we were still texting previously. Like, previous to that day, to that time he told me on that day, we were still texting like normal. We just wasn't like talking on the phone and mentioning like anything about dates or anything. Because again, I was waiting on him. But it was like normal conversation. So don't make it seem like you, out of the kindness of your heart, was just like, oh, I'm gonna tell you this. No, it wasn't until I initiated like what's been going on with your lack of communication on like, you know, on the phone and like going on this date, like what's been going on, like, because I'm noticing something different. That's why you decided to bring it up. Don't act like you doing me any favors, okay? So once he said that and was like, oh, we could still be friends now. I wish you nothing but the best in your life. I hope he makes you happy. That's it. I'm not looking for new friends. Okay, and yes, granted, I'm communicating with this other one, the first situation I told you about, but that's too because he didn't state verbatim that, like, he just wants friends or anything. He did state he wants, you know, he is interested, but he's just, you know, going through a lot of travels and stuff like that right now. So, I'm slowly but surely leaning towards handling that later, but for right now, I'm just like, you know what, I see. Okay. But this one, no, you verbatim told me that you're taking things to another level with this other person you're dating. Great. I love that for you. However, no, we're not going to be friends. You move different. And it wasn't until I brought up my concerns that you decided to, you know, tell me about this. So, thank you for your services. Situation number 3. This third individual, I'm going to call him Hunchback. Yeah, I'm calling him Hunchback. Hunchback and I met online and instantly like hit it off in communication. Like instantly hit it off. We were like texting on the app, and then he was like, you know, I would love to talk to you on the phone. I was like, okay, sure, why not? Here's my number. At that time I was driving, so I was like, it's better that way anyway, and like, why not? We hit it off. So cool, communication was great. But let's just see how this conversation goes on the phone. And it's great. Like, we're talking through all different stuff and personal things, non-personal things. Like, you know, it's a great conversation until it then gets to where I'm like, I gotta go because I gotta eat, and I'll call you back, like, you know, on FaceTime. He was like, okay, cool. And to his surprise, he was saying like he didn't think that I enjoyed the conversation. You know, he thought I was like getting bored with him or whatever. I was like, no. He was like, okay, cool. So we went on FaceTime after I ate dinner, and things were going great over the conversation. And, you know, he was saying he likes what he see and the vibe that he's feeling. I was like, yeah, I'm feeling your vibe. Everything's good. And he was just like, you know, you're so different. You're so unique. And I was like,
thank you, I know.
We were chatting for a good minute. Like, you know, it was really, really good. So then we decided to schedule a date, right? That same night, like all like within that same night. Well, it was him asking me like if I was interested in going on a date. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, you know, I'm willing to go on a date. Like, I'm interested. So that following weekend, he ended up rescheduling because something came up, which I completely understood, and he wanted to make it up to me for later that evening. And I was like, or even later on that weekend, I was like, yeah, sorry, I have other plans, because Charlie is booking and busy, baby. If you didn't know before, you know now, okay? And even if I'm not like got plans with other people, I got plans with myself. I have other things to be doing, so that's why I schedule the way I do ahead of time. So when he told me that, I was like, you know, it was no hard feelings. Like, you know, I didn't take it personal. I completely understood. I didn't go off on him or anything like that. Like, he explained to me what the situation was, and I completely understood. And I was like, you know, I understand you want to make it up to me, but, well, at that time, I actually did not think he wanted to like make up for like missing out on the date. I just thought like he was just like really trying to rush into like the date, and which kind of put me off at first, I will say, and I did later on tell him that. And so I was just like, you know, it's okay, like, I understand, you don't feel a ways. So he was like, okay, when are you next available? I was like, how about we do the following Friday? So he was like, okay, we'll do the following Friday. When we scheduled this, I already bared in mind, like, that Friday was the day before my mother's anniversary, since she's passed away. And it's kind of like with me, like, you know, up and down, like it can go one way or another. Now, should I had like, you know, scheduled it for an even later date than that? Sure, of course. But at like me thinking like he really like wants to like see me on this date, since we couldn't, like he had to reschedule for the initial day we scheduled for, and I was going to be available for the rest of that weekend, nor the other weekends following that Friday that I had planned with him, until like the month of October. I was just like, yeah, until the month of October, I was just like, yeah, it's better I just plan this with him for Friday. Fast forwarding, like throughout the course of the week, like we're texting still, everything's going like fine, hunky-dory. He double checks with me, making sure we're still gonna see each other for the date on Friday. So we do. We go through it. It wasn't until like, actually it was the beginning of the week that I already started like feeling the type of way, not about him, but just like personally. And so I was like mentally already like trying to prepare myself for like just the rest of the week. And so the closer it got to like Friday, the more I was just like, oh God, like going through like work, and then like just like my mind going back to, like, you know, my mom's passing and stuff, it was just like a lot. So once Friday actually came, I was still looking forward. I was actually really looking forward to seeing him, like, you know, going on the date, but at the same time, like, my mind was elsewhere. Prior to this, I had already told him, like, on the first night that, like, when we were FaceTiming and all that, that was one of the personal things we spoke about. I told him, like, you know, my mother's anniversary is this month, like, you know, because we were talking about, like, how we grew up. And so over the course of, like, how we grew up, and my mom mainly being the one that raised me, I was some, like, you know, we were close, but, you know, she had passed a few years ago. And so, and I was like, her anniversary is actually this month. So mind you, he knew this. He knew it was this month. He just didn't know the date. I actually met up with him on our date. I seen him and he was like, you know, how are you feeling? I was like, you know what? I'm actually, like, happier, like, seeing you, you know, for this day. You're making me smile a little, because it's just been a lot this week. And so we spoke about that, and he was like, oh, you know, I'm sorry. And I was like, yeah, and, you know, my mom's anniversary is actually tomorrow. And, you know, he gave his, you know, his condolences again. And, you know, what I thought of him was understanding, I guess was not. So continuing on with this date, we basically, like, summed up that, like, he's very, very, very spontaneous, which for me is fine. Like, I can be spontaneous every now and again, but for the most part, like, I'm a huge planner, as I just stated before, right? Going over things that we like to just do on dates. And the only thing we really had in common for a date was, like, going out to eat, like, because we're both foodies, but he's limited to what he can eat because of him stating that he had gastro bypass. So yeah, I was like, okay, understood. So after the day, I get home and I tell him, I text him actually, that I enjoyed the date. I'm looking forward to our next one. And he said he enjoyed the date as well, and we'll talk soon. A few days go by, and it was on Monday. I text him. He had mentioned to me that he was going out of town that Monday, you know, with one of his best friends. And I was telling him that, or actually, I think it was just solo. But anyway, he was going out of town for the holiday weekend. I told him good morning, and in return, he texts me, hi. Hi?
Child, you do not have to worry about me. You do not have to worry about me.
One thing that annoys me is, like, one-worded text in response to, like, something like that, like, good morning, a hello. I get a hi. I'm like, how are you doing? Like, you know, so I text him. After he texted me hi, I was like, you know what? Let me give this a chance. Maybe it was a quick text or something. So I said, how are you? I asked, how are you doing? And he said, I'm doing good. That was it. I said, oh, okay, all right. I just let it go. So the next morning, I text him again, against my better judgment. I texted him, and it was another good morning. Crickets. Didn't hear anything back. So I was like, okay, you know, maybe he's just going through it right now. Like, maybe he's going through his own thing that I don't know about, that we didn't discuss. Fast forward to Friday, which is literally a week after our date. He decides to message me. It was like a big message too, that he is no longer interested because of the energy that I had when we were on our date, and that he thinks it's better that he focuses his attention on other people that are more likely minded as him, because, you know, there were some other things that, you know, we weren't like-minded in. And then also he prefers with somebody that he mentioned, basically someone that, you know, has better teeth. Okay. Whatever. Prior to him saying that, he was just stating, like, oh, it was him just stating like, he doesn't see us dating. I was like, okay, cool. I wish you nothing but the best. And then that's when he went on to say, yeah, and I have a preference on teeth and da 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 da. Motherfucker, I didn't ask you. Like, really? You're being very disrespectful. This was very unwarranted. Like, I'm so confused. So I sent a 5-minute voice memo that did not end up sending because he blocked me. Yeah, that's what we call throwing a rock and then hiding your hand. It's called being a fucking wuss and chicken and not being a grown-ass motherfucking adult to take accountability for what you just said and then sit on it, stand in what you said so you can handle the feedback of what you about to get in return. You can handle the mouth that I'm about to give you in return. Because when I tell you, I felt so disrespected, not at the fact that you want to try to tear me down, because you didn't tear me down. I already know about my teeth. And this is part of what I said in the voice memo of like, that's one of my, like, that's one of the things that, I feel uncomfortable about myself. However, I am aware, like, it's something that some people are, like focusing on. Like, a lot of people have focus on like teeth and they want people with like perfect teeth or great teeth, even if it's veneers or whatever, and I'm somebody that's not going to go broke on getting my whole teeth aligned and, because I do like want veneers eventually, but that's a huge investment and it's not cheap at all. I'm not about to go bankrupt or anything like that. Not to say, if you do, you do, that's just not my prerogative. I have other things to focus on as well. So it's just like, I'm not like, that's not the top of the, like, that's not the top thing on my list to like, just do right now, unless you won't pay for it. No? Okay, that's what I thought. So like, that wasn't even an issue for me. The main problem that I had, and I told him in a voice memo, had he actually not blocked me, was the mere fact that you disregarded what I had mentioned to you and stating that my mother's anniversary was the following day. I already was going through it mentally for the whole course of the week, and it just really hit me all like the most that day. But I also then stated too, like, I told you verbatim, like, you are making me a bit more cheerful because seeing you and like looking forward to the date. Otherwise I wouldn't have wasted your time, because I was still very much so present. Like, even though my mind wasn't all the way like there, I was still present and like asking questions, like, I was just like, whatever. So after I made that 5-minute voice memo and discovered I was blocked, I said, you know what? Okay, I may have a friend or two that may know this man, because I got people that know people, right? Come to find out, one of my friends did know him. He's been on his tip for like years apparently. And so he decided to go in on him because he was like, that's BS. Like, why would he come at you like that? Especially when he has no room to come for you at all. He was like, at all, like, are you serious? So I was like, okay, thank you, friend. I very much so felt like, backed, not that I had to, but it was just like, if I'm not going to be able to get off my chest to this guy after he violated me, like, unprovoked, then I'm going to get somebody to come for you. Okay? Because, and even in my voice memo, I was very respectful. I was very demure.
Very mindful.
But you know what? In this video, I said, fuck that. That's why you're Hunchback. Okay? He's a hunchback. And I didn't mention anything about you being over 400 damn pounds, and that's why you got gastro bypass, and that's why you got to choose what you fucking eat. So instead of you being a bigger person and better person to other people, treating people the way you want to be treated, you chose to unwarranted violate me and my looks and go for my, like, just my vibe. It's not the same as it was when we were on FaceTime versus and on the date which you know the reason why, but you chose because I'm very much sure that people came for you a lot for being overweight at the time before you got your gastro bypass. And now you just want to nitpick at me. No. I could have went for that, but I didn't because I'm better than that. But because you want to be that bitch, oh, okay, I'm going to air you out. You got the gastro because you were over 400 pounds. And granted, I'm not the person, I don't have a literal type. You can look at any of my exes or any other people with dating interest. I don't have a specific kind of type. All of them look different. So it's just I don't discriminate against anybody. Yes, do I have preferences of certain things? Yes. But if I genuinely vibe with somebody, I'm interested in them, I'm not just going to nitpick things. I'm not that kind of person. So for you to do that to somebody is very ugly and very nasty. And it just made me be more aware in this dating scene, damn, this is ghetto. Sometimes I'm just damn, is it better being straight? That was just a key. You know damn well. If you know me, you know damn well that's never going to happen. But, it's just mind-boggling to me. It's so late. It is very late. It is very late. And, sir, if you do end up seeing this video, screw you. Disrespectfully. Screw you. Yeah, I'm going to keep it cute. Because I'm not trying to get demonetized. So, screw you. In the meantime, I shall see you guys later on the flip side. Bye.